Alright guys, it's Jahlon with the Paradox Gaming Network, and today's live stream was hype for me. Long time, 3 years waiting for them to put some actual alpha presence together with a lot of different functioning systems that looked smooth and clean. So this is part 3 of my March update. This is your live stream review. Jumping right into it, I do want to say 10 out of 10 for this live stream. And you know I'm a hard grader. I do beat up every single game company I review. This one was perfect. They showcased a ton of stuff today, a lot more than I was expecting. It's easy for me to say that because this morning I did a video where I broke down my expectations. That's over there if you want to see like what I was expecting. But I don't want to rehash that. What I do want to do right now is I'm going to talk about a couple of quick things on video stills, and then I'm going to actually cut and splice together the important stuff that I think should be talked about. I do recommend that you go and watch the full live stream because I may not hit something that you find important, but you guys are my audience. I think I got it all, but I'm not perfect. So first and foremost, this is what we're looking at now. This is a much higher quality than we saw in Alpha Zero. A couple of important things people have wondered about. One thing in Alpha Zero that we didn't have was a mini-map, and there is a mini-map, and we found out that resources will show up on the mini-map. That purple icon a little bit to the right of where the character is, that's a resource. Harvesting, gathering is in, so that system is there. I wanted to point out that people will see on the left-hand side, the party members. You can see your party member's life as a numerical value. When it comes to your enemies, you will not see a numerical value. You will see a crumbling bar, kind of like from Apocalypse, but we didn't see any of that really today. We will see the final version of that later. And then finally, multiple hotbars. A lot of people have asked how many abilities are we going to be able to have on our screen at a time. It's not limited to the 13 you see here. You will be able to have multiple hotbars. Now, I know that instantly is going to take you to another question of how does the skill tree, skill points, skill allocation work? We don't have any of that information. As soon as we do, of course, I'll let you know. Next map. I know a lot of people are looking at this and they're like, wow, that's not really an impressive UI. That's not an impressive user interface. It's pretty basic. That's because it is basic. This is what Steven called programmer art. It's there to be functional. It's not there to be fancy. So when you see through the playthrough inventories opening or windows opening, these are just there. The programmers did this. We do know that Intrepid hired on a former Blizzard user interface artist. He's been on a live stream. He's talking about all the things he's going to do to bring some, fancy to the UIs. And then I just wanted to make sure that we showed this. This is the node interface. This is the mayor's interface. This is really important because, as you guys know, at Ashes 101, I broke down nodes into 5 different videos because they're really the core of the game. Just seeing them come along with their node interface, their mayor interface, is pretty important. The tax system is there. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. It wasn't exactly functioning, but I want to give Intrepid big props today. They showcased some stuff that was broken, which is new for them. They usually like to make sure everything is highly polished, but they showed it to us so that we can see that it's in work, and I think that's going to really silence a lot of the critics who say they're not building an MMO. With that said, guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch sort of formats. I'm going to put up a collection of scenes from the live stream, and I'm going to talk over them. So see you in just a second. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clip some different thoughts, some ideas together, overlaying the video. For everybody that didn't get a chance to play Alpha Zero, this is mostly what we saw in Alpha Zero, just a much higher quality. This is the same layout that we saw. You will see dwarves are in. There's a dwarf, and Margaret's character, the perspective, is a dwarf. No beards. Beards they were having some sort of issue with, so they didn't put them in. You'll notice that the idle animations for the characters are coming along. They're not just standing there. They are doing some stuff. What you see is, the first and second passes in some places of development. World seems fairly immersive, considering this is your starting area. So I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised when it comes to the quality of the immersion in Ashes. I wanted to take a minute to show this scene for two reasons. Number one, flying mounts are restricted to the 10 people with royal status. That is your 5 monarchs of the castle regions and your 5 mayors of the metropolises. Now, it is possible to find a royal egg in the world, raise it, and have a temporary true flight mount. And true flight is what you see these characters doing, the ability to move up and down and maintain altitude. This particular skin was a giveaway code during Apocalypse. All players can use it because all players can get gliding mounts. So this would go on the average player's Griffin as a gliding mount skin, a tier 2 skin. If you were one of the royals, you could skin it tier 3. I also want to talk about the cash shop. If you buy a mount skin in the cash shop, it doesn't give you the mount. You would still have to go through the process in game of earning an applicable mount, an applicable gliding mount to put this on. But instead of having a base colored mount, you would be able to use the skin that you either earned from a content creator or purchased from the cash shop. Jumping ahead here, a little bit of combat. I know a lot of people during the Discord or during the Twitch and Discord conversations today, a lot of people were hoping for a little bit more of the hybrid combat. Margaret was playing a cleric, so not 100% sure what's going on with that hybrid build, but we do know that you can see the tab being worked on here. A lot of people were concerned that there was no tab combat, and we do have a lot of experience with the action combat from the Battle Royale, so no real need to worry about the blending. That is the blending, the building of the hybrid system is something that they're going to have to take their time over the next few years while they finish up Ashes. But as you can see, looking pretty good. Now, I do want to make a note that the XP levels that you're going to see in these combat scenes is accelerated. Everything's accelerated in order to do this Alpha 1 demo. Most of the things you see, the node development speed, the building speeds, those are all accelerated so that we could have some sort of a glimpse into it. Otherwise, it would take forever for them to do anything that they're trying to showcase. I did want to clip in the mushroom fight. If you have been following the development, we saw the mushrooms back in the original Alpha Zero showcase, and they've come a long way. A lot of familiar things, a lot of nostalgia that we're going to see, a lot of bits and pieces in that development. So that's one, I pulled that out specifically because it does show that growth of Ashes of Creation, the MMORPG, from what we saw 2 years ago to what we're seeing today. All right, what you're seeing here is you're seeing a node. This is a level 1 node. It's already got NPCs there. It's already been developed. So there are the base minor things to interact with. Now, over the next several scenes, you're going to see a rapid time advanced growth of these nodes. But as you can see, you see this first quest giver. There is something to do. There is a troll out there somewhere that needs to be killed. And one of the other things they have in this first town is obviously all the quest givers. They do have that baseline quest interaction. Again, that UI that you saw is going to be enhanced and developed. It's there for function, not fashion. So as you see the wraparound, there is your level 1 node. And then these guys are going to go off out into the wilderness. And here we are. What Steven said, he made the joke that this is the goat from the movie Jurassic Park that is sacrificed to the T-Rex. Again, I want to foot stomp. Leveling nodes is not going to be this fast or this easy. But what they did is they put this in so that the node could advance faster, and you see like 1 billion XP, and then they go right back to where they were. And even from far away, you can see the node has developed. Definitely made its mark in the environment. Now, as the node grows, it will develop its footprint further and further and further. However, the node has a static footprint. So later on, when we start talking about putting freeholds in, you'll know what the edge of the node is because you won't be able to place a freehold in. But as you can see, building a statue marks a occasion of celebration. They have moved up. You start to see more NPCs. So one of the things people have been concerned about is, will I get stuck in buildings when those nodes pop, when all those new buildings appear? Margaret's tucked in here next to a lantern pole, and you saw that million XP, and she got moved away just far enough that she doesn't get stuck in anything. But now, as you see, this node has moved around. Margaret has been named the mayor. There is the mayor's interface that I was showing you. Pretty important. Shows you how many stationed troops you have, how many elite troops, how many freeholds there are. All placeholder information. Obviously, nobody ran around and put in freeholds. You can see here the tax rate. Again, I'm glad Intrepid did this live. The tax was set, but there was no taxes being charged. So again, it's an alpha. There's things they need to address. See here, those mayor buildings, mayor blueprint buildings. Margaret's choosing to build an armory out of the choices she has. As she moves away from the building, dwarf got stuck. You see the building laying itself in. The framework of the building is developing. And then those mayor blueprint buildings are something that is going to bring the community together, because while the skeleton of the building is building itself up, which this is actually really cool. This is the best in-game building I've seen. A little fast. It's pretty impressive. But what's going to happen is they're going to have to do a quest, because all buildings need materials. So there's your construction supervisor. And again, the quest is there. I want to build it. What do I need to do? And then he's going to say, we need some materials. I can get you the lumber. I can get you the stone. And then off you go. You now have another quest. Important thing that you're going to see here in just a second. Intrepid is building ashes to not be run back and forth all the time. So these guys come out, and you see that sparkling. There's the gathering, the gatherables resource node there. It says it's been applied to the progress. They're not sure how that's going to work out. And remember, they only have like 2 stone and 1 lumber. You're going to need a lot more than just like 3 things to build a building. This was done this way to do the Alpha 1 preview. But these guys are out here doing one thing. And as you can see, something's caught their attention. They're out in the world adventuring. They find the fishmonger, and they talk about a dragon that had attacked the town. I spliced that bit out. It caused Margaret to crash. But then they're out here and they're gathering. There's your fishing. I know a lot of people have been waiting on fishing. No, it's not going to be AFK fishing. This is just, again, the base system laid in. They will be building on top of it. Margaret actually is going to open her inventory, and there is your fish. And another thing, they went out to find lumber and stone, and they actually encountered a caravan. One of those PvP systems that I've talked about at Ashes 101. And this is, I'm waiting for final clarification on how this is going to work. I don't think you're going to have to run up to the caravan to click it. It would kind of ruin the element of surprise. Steven has mentioned in the past that it was going to be a pop-up so that you could attack it. But as you see, these guys are all friendly. Everybody's friendly to each other. And then Margaret is about to join the skirmish attack, and the people in that party protecting that caravan have now become legal combatants. And we're going to have a little fight here. And this is actual PvP. The red names, those are other developers that were there. Corey is one of them. And as you can see, obviously probably a little scripted. Don't wipe the boss's party while he's streaming. But we're starting to see some actual systems. I'm waiting. I don't know if Margaret at the top ever goes aggressive, goes offensive. I was waiting to see how they had the health bars for the combatants. But 2 clerics and a tank is what the party they were running. So, oh, hold on. I saw it. Let me go back. Yeah, right now they are showing the enemy health. Disregard that. They have specifically stated that you will not see the enemy's health. You will see a crumbling bar. So I wanted to make sure to point that out as well. So they win their fight. And unfortunately, again, another thing that's not working right, the caravan disappeared. But they zoned out, they zoned back, and you see there's the caravan. It's a mayoral caravan. This is a node-driven caravan from place to place. And these guys are gonna, this is highway robbery at its finest. Again, you see the caravan is blocking lots of things that they need to get done and get polished. But that's okay because it's Alpha 1. As soon as this pops open, come on, pop it open. Beat it like a piñata. She doesn't have it cursed. And then, of course, I just tried. There you go. There's all the stuff that was in the caravan. They had it loaded with weapons, and that's what happens when you don't properly defend your caravan. They just lost it. All that stuff was lost. Now, that's a system that is going to be talked about. Let me pause this for a second. That's a system that's going to be talked about at a later date. One of the things Steven has told me about caravans is that you'll have to go back to the point of origin to redeem gatherables like wood, stone, iron, things like that. So a lot of these systems are baselined in, and they're developing them. What you're seeing here is a lot of people were like, well, what about gathering? Gathering's in. You'll notice that node was there. Not like a big giant neon sign, hey, I'm here, a little sparkly on it. And now finally these guys are back. They're back after getting sidetracked. They've got the stone, they've got the lumber, and then you will see the building. Yep, there we go. The building is working. It's finishing up. Now, Maggie, as the mayor, made the decision to build the armory. As you saw, there were a couple other choices. So far, we have about 15 or 16 mayoral building ideas that they may do. That's pretty cool. It's now finished, and the name on the sign will pop up in just a second. Just one more second. Of course, I'm going to try to touch my mouse. It's not going to do anything. Okay, there was the one more second. So now you have opened a armory, and of course you have brought a service to your town. You find the master blacksmith, who having a bad day. There you go. And shopkeeper, like I said, placeholder UI, but you can see that the base systems are there and functional. And now because you built an armory, instead of just base items, you have glorious items. Now, no, not everything is going to cost 100. Those are all placeholder prices. This is the last thing I wanted to show you. This is the boss fight. This is the dragon. This is supposed to be a 40-man raid. Don't let them fool you. They drop into GM mode. They're in GM mode for this fight. A lot of people are like, how are you standing in the lava? GM armor. But one big conversation we recently had on the Discord was, what about dungeons? What about raids? What about this? What about this? Well, 80% of the dungeons and raids are open world. So you'll see these guys. This is a 40-person raid right here. I know a lot of people aren't fans of 40-person raids. Unfortunately, Ashes may not be for you then, or this just may be content you don't do. The other thing you would have to keep in mind is not only do you have to deal with this giant dragon that's trying to kill your raid, you would also be vulnerable to PvP at this time. This is open world. Now, what does that mean? It means you could bring in more than one raid. And I know people are like, well, then it's not hardcore PvE. Well, if you choose to bring in 2 raids to kill the dragon, you're making it not hardcore. Keep that in mind. Player agency. Also keep in mind, like I said, if your guild was at war, you and somebody found out you guys were trying to do this dungeon, another guild might come in and wipe you. If your node was at war with another node, people might come in and try to wipe you. So with that said, really impressive live stream today. I know I kind of spliced jump quoted in a lot of stuff there, but not really an easy way to do this. I'm not able to play. I'm not able to show you guys. As soon as I can play, I'll be doing that. So and that is it, guys. That was the live stream today. Like I said, I am really hyped. I am really impressed by what we saw. I'd like to hear comments from you, not just for me, but I know Intrepid looks at all of the videos that I do. Thank you to Intrepid for that. It opens up a lot of avenues for communication between the community to me to Intrepid, and then back and forth. A lot of improvement in the month of March. Part 1 of this series, this 3-part series, talked about all the things Intrepid answered the community's concerns, so that was important. I'd like to hear what your thoughts, comments, critiques, criticisms are. This is my channel. Just say it however you want. I do occasionally roll up stuff to send to Intrepid, so comments are important. Until then, guys, next month I know we're getting more. We're getting some high definition gameplay from Intrepid, as well as freeholds. Steven said freeholds will be there, and that dragon boss fight, that 40-man raid, that should be mostly buttoned up by next month, and we might get a look at that. You guys take care, and I will see you next time. What are you still doing here? Nobody ever stays this long. This is the end screen. Well, since you're here, there's a couple other videos I think you should check out. And all those names, those are my patrons over at Patreon. I couldn't do this without them. So, big thanks to them for all their support.